I attempted a hardcore Nuzlocke using only Pokemon that begin with the letter M. I'll be attempting this challenge in Pokemon Omega Ruby, where Mega Evolutions are fair game, since they are Pokemon that start with the letter M. If you'd like to see the hardcore rules for this challenge, check out the description below. While you're down there, make sure you're subscribed to the channel. I'm watching some Pokemon Emerald runs on YouTube when I arrive at my new house in Hoenn. Wait, if my mom's already here and my dad's in Petalburg, then who is driving the truck? Professor Birch needs my help so I can select my starting Pokemon. There's one option here that begins with the letter M, which is Mudkip. So I pick him and name him Mr. Meeseeks. I take out my rival's Trico and I can immediately catch another M Pokemon. On Route 103, I find a Poochyena who evolves into Mightyena. I name her Maugrim, and unfortunately, she has the Quick Feet ability instead of Runaway, which turns into Intimidate. On Route 102, I can catch a Surskit, who evolves into Masquerain. I name her Mothra. On my way up to Rustboro, I run into Lass Haley, who has a Shroomish that I don't really have a good answer for. In completely embarrassing fashion, my entire team dies to it. Guess I really need to be paying attention from the start. Alright, time for attempt number 2. There really isn't a good way to tell which Poochyena has Quick Feet and which Poochyena has Runaway. So I have to just catch it and hope for the best. Unfortunately, once again, I get Quick Feet. This time, I safely make it to Rustboro City, where I can take on the first gym leader, Roxanne. Roxanne sends out Geodude, and I send out Mr. Meeseeks. Water Gun can one-hit KO Geodude, but its ability, Sturdy, prevents it from dying. Roxanne goes for Rock Tomb, which does a bit of damage and lowers my speed. But Roxanne just heals up with a potion, meaning I can take out Geodude on the next turn. Roxanne's second Pokemon is Nosepass. With my speed lowered from Geodude, I'm still faster than Nosepass, and Water Gun will be a 2-hit KO, but Nosepass gets a crit on Rock Tomb, which not only leaves me dead to crit, but I'm slower than Nosepass now. No matter if I stay in or switch, I'll be risking a crit, so I decide to just stay in. Roxanne just goes for a tackle, and we can take out Nosepass with a second Water Gun. That's badge number 1. The president of the Devon Corporation is so grateful for my help that he gives me a desk job. Pivoting in a Nuzlocke? More like pivot tables. In Dewford Town, I get the Old Rod and fish up a Magikarp. Even though I can catch it, I can't evolve it because Gyarados starts with the letter G. So meaningless, the Magikarp will be a sacrificial fish. Then, Mudkip evolves into Marshtomp. Since Swampert doesn't start with the letter M, this guy will remain a Marshtomp. Technically, he can evolve into Mega Swampert, but for some semblance of a challenge, I'm going to ban that. Next we have the second gym leader, Brawly. Brawly sends out Machop, and I send out Mothra, who hasn't quite reached his Moth stage. Mothra can do some damage with Bubble, but easily takes fighting type attacks as a bug type. Bubble will be a 3-hit KO, and Brawly lowers my defense. One more Bubble takes out Machop, and Mothra reaches level 17, where it can learn Bubble Beam, a significantly stronger water attack than Bubble. Brawly's second Pokemon is Makuhita. Unfortunately, Bubble Beam isn't quite a 2-hit KO, so after Makuhita lowers my accuracy, I go for a quick attack. But Makuhita's knockoff almost kills me. Because my accuracy has been lowered, I don't want to take a risk, so I switch to Mr. Meeseeks for a sand attack, and he lands his Water Gun to take out Makuhita. The second badge is ours. There are 2 Pokemon that start with the letter M in Granite Cave, but I can't get the one I want quite yet, so I use a Repel to get to the cutscene with Steven. Now it's on to Slateport City. Maugrim evolves into Mightyena, and we take on our rival on Route 110. Mr. Meeseeks takes out Slugma, Maugrim takes out Grovyle, and back to Mr. Meeseeks to take out Wailmer. I'm also repelling through this route, since there are 2 Pokemon I can catch, but one is available elsewhere. Now it's time to show Watt's son who his Watt daddy is. He leads Magnemite, and I send out Mr. Meeseeks. Sturdy prevents Magnemite from dying to a Mudshot, and its tackle does basically no damage. This causes Watson to use a Super Potion, where I can use Water Gun to chip down Magnemite's health before taking it out with another Mudshot. Magneton also can't do damage to me, and it doesn't have Sturdy, so I can take it out with a Mudshot. Finally, Voltorb also can't do damage to me, and I take it out with a Mudshot. It's not surprising or new that Marshtomp walls this gym, but we easily have the third badge. Mothra evolves into Masquerain, and on Route 117, I can catch a Marill, who I name Minnie. Minnie has huge power as an ability, which doubles its attack, which is awesome. And now that we're at Mauville City and have access to the bike, I can go back to the basement of the Granite Cave to get my encounter. On the second basement floor, I'm guaranteed to get Mawile, and although there's 2 possible abilities, this one has Intimidate. I name her Molars, so that's 2 good abilities in a row. Although Mawile is more important for this run since I can't evolve Marill. I guess, technically, I can't evolve Mawile either. Or can I? On Route 112, I catch a Machop, who I name Mano-a-Mano. And in the Fiery Path, there are 2 M Pokemon I can catch. It'll either be Slugma, who evolves into Magcargo, or Grimer, who evolves into Muck. Normally, I would try to get whoever has the funnier meme name, but they both do, so I decide to leave it up to chance. The first one I find is Grimer, and I catch him and name him Mr. Mushy. I make it to Fallarbor, confront Team Magma, and now it's time to take on Maxie for the first time. I first have some trouble with Camerupt, as Mr. Meeseeks gets burned on Switch-In. Water Gun doesn't do as much damage as I expected, and Mr. Meeseeks is lucky that he doesn't get crit. Mogrim can take it out, but Golbat is kind of an issue for me. Molars doesn't take much damage, but also can't deal damage. Mr. Mushy gets confused and hits himself, so Mothra has to save the day in a surprisingly close fight. I was hoping to try a unique strategy against Flannery, but at the end of the day, the most consistent way to win is by using Marshtomp. I equipped him with the Soft Sand and prayed for good accuracy luck, and Mr. Meeseeks delivered, one-shotting both Slugma and Numel. Torkoal will be a 2-hit KO, but Flannery spends its turn using Sunny Day, and I can take it out for quite possibly the easiest Flannery fight ever. Don't worry, this is the last boring Marshtomp sweep you'll see. Mano-a-Mano evolves into Machoke, and we immediately have another gym to beat. This time it's Norman, and his exploitable Slaykings. Slaking only attacks every other turn, so my plan is to use Dig to be underground when it attacks. However, I need to start with Mothra, who's been pre-damaged for this fight. First, this lowers Slaking's attack for free. Second, Slaking sees a kill on Mothra because of its low health, so it will use an attacking move. This allows me to switch into Mogrim without the risk of being put to sleep with Yawn. Because my whole team is slower than Slaking, I needed to waste a turn before starting the Dig cycle. And now, whenever Slaking attacks me, I'll be underground. Dig doesn't do a ton of damage, but it's a completely safe way to wear down Slaking. The Dig cycle keeps going, and Mogrim gets a well-timed crit to avoid Norman healing up, although Mogrim was holding a Leppa Berry to refresh Dig's PP in case it ran out. Vigoroth does not have the same exploit, and in anticipation of a death-boosted Retaliate, I switch to Molars. But Vigoroth just goes for Encore, so now I can safely switch to Mano-a-Mano. He tanks regular Retaliates, and since he's slower anyway, the negative priority Revenge has 120 base power, which easily takes out Vigoroth. Finally, Norman sends out the second Slaking, but I have a bit of an issue here. In theory, I could switch in Marshtomp to do the Dig strategy similar to the first Slaking. However, if Slaking uses Retaliate, it'll kill Marshtomp. So I switch in the only Pokemon that can live a boosted Retaliate, which is Molars. Of course, Slaking doesn't use Retaliate, but it doesn't really matter. Because I spent an extra turn pivoting, I can't just go to Marshtomp and start the Dig strategy now. I have another turn I need to kill. I do still switch to Mr. Meeseeks, but now I need to take a Slaking attack. It goes for Swagger, the best possible scenario since I have a Person Berry, and I use a move that doesn't lower Slaking's speed. Now I can start the Dig cycle, and with boosted Dig, it only takes 2 attacks to knock out Slaking and get the 5th badge. Now I have a few more encounters I can get. Steven tries to give me a free Latios, which is pretty lame, but I actually do need a Pokemon that learns Fly, so it works out well. On Route 118, I can find Electrike, who evolves into Manectric. I actually get a Horde encounter first, which is kinda cool, mostly because they keep proccing each other's Lightning Rod abilities, which means I can tell which ones have the static ability. So I kill all the Lightning Rod Electrike and catch the one I think has static. And I was right. This makes Electrike a duplicate on Route 110, so now I can catch a Minoon. I name Manectric Mutt and Minun Mathlete. While I'm fishing for my next encounter on Route 119, I find what is quite possibly the worst shiny, terrible color, and terrible Pokemon. But I can just evolve it, right? Yup, nothing more cool or unique than a shiny Gyarados. I'm honestly just kidding, finding any kind of shiny is awesome. And since it starts with the letter M, I can use it, although Magikarp doesn't really have much use. My actual encounter is Feebas, who I teach to become beautiful, so it evolves into Milotic. I guess the water she swims in isn't the only thing that's shallow. I handle Team Magma at the Weather Institute, and easily defeat my rival before making it to Four Tree City. It would be great if I could teach an ice move to my team for Winona, but an NPC blocks me from getting to the Lily Cove department store, so I'll have to take on Winona without any ice moves. Winona starts with Swellow, and I send out Mutt. This first matchup is easy, as Mutt outspeeds and one-hit KOs Swellow with Discharge. Next we have Altaria, who would be easily taken out with an ice move. But Altaria sees a kill on Mutt with Earthquake, so I know I have a safe switch in to Mothra. Because I pre-damaged Mothra, I know Altaria sees a kill with Dragon Breath, which gives me a safe switch in to Minnie. Unfortunately, Altaria increases its defense significantly with Cotton Guard, and I do get a crit, but it's not enough to kill. Winona heals up, but Play Rough just isn't doing enough damage. Now its defense is at +6, and I can't do more damage than it gets back with Roost. So in the middle of this battle, I pivot to a new strategy. Once Minnie's health is low enough, I can pivot between her and Mothra. Mothra isn't affected by Earthquake, and Minnie isn't affected by Dragon Breath. By switching between the two, Altaria will eventually run out of PP for both moves. Altaria runs out of Earthquakes, and eventually it runs out of both Roost and Dragon Breath too. So now I can go back to Mutt and safely take out Altaria with 3 discharges. Mutt can also outspeed and one-hit KO Pelipper and Skarmory. So with some spur-of-the-moment PP stalling, I get the 6th badge. Mr. Mushy evolves into Muck, and in Mount Pyre, I can get another encounter, which is Meditite, who evolves into Medicham. I name her Mana Imana, and evolve her into Medicham. With my full team intact, I chase around Team Magma before making it to Moss Deep City, where I can take on the 7th gym leaders, Tate and Liza. Or Liza and Tate? Good for you, Liza, get that top billing. They only have Solrock and Lunatone, so I send out Macaroni and Maugrim. The combined power of Maugrim's Snarl and Macaroni's Surf will be enough to take out Solrock and Lunatone. In order to do this strategy, Maugrim needs to get hit by Macaroni's Surf. I made a key decision to not give Macaroni a Sea Incense, just in case I get a crit on Maugrim, which I actually do. That decision saved Maugrim's life, and we get a very easy 7th badge. Next, I strategically move through the Team Magma base, and find Maxie, where Mothra takes out Mightyena, Molars takes out Weezing and then Crobat, and then Mr. Meeseeks takes out the Mega Camerupt. The sun from Groudon's rage is baking my sweet little potatoes, but I put a stop to it by completing the most sinister piggyback ride ever ridden. The world returns to normal, and now I can take on the 8th and final gym leader. Wallace sends out Luvdisc, and I send out Mutt. Mutt can knock out Luvdisc with 1 discharge. Next out is Whiscash, who sees a kill on Mutt with Earthquake. Like I've done many times already this run, I switch into Mothra, and then safely switch into Macaroni on the incoming waterfall. Surf will be a 2-hit KO here, and Whiscash just goes for Mud Sport, so I can knock it out with a 2nd Surf. Next out is Celio, and I go straight to Mutt, who can't be paralyzed from Body Slam. For the very first time this run, I Mega Evolve a Pokemon, bringing out Mega Manectric. Super Mutt should be able to kill this, but it actually doesn't. That's when I learned that starting in Gen 6, Mudsport doesn't go away if you switch out. It's active for 5 turns regardless of what happens. Luckily, it's not a big deal, and Mutt can knock out Celio with a 2nd discharge. 4th is Milotic, who sees a kill right now with Hydro Pump. So I switch to Mothra, who's always safe, which baits an Ice Beam that I can easily tank with Mr. Mushy. Because of the low damage from Ice Beam, Mr. Mushy is safe to take a Hydro Pump from Milotic, and then it can disable it. All of Milotic's other moves don't do anything to Mr. Mushy, so he can launch powerful Gunk Shots back to Milotic. However, a few of the Gunk Shots miss, and then Hydro Pump is no longer disabled. Mr. Mushy can't take another hit, but I can safely switch to Macaroni, who can take my low tick out with a Surf. Finally, Wallace sends out Seaking. Seaking can't do anything to Macaroni, so it just does a bunch of nonsense, and eventually Macaroni can take it out. After a very successful battle, we have all 8 badges in Hoenn. Strangely, this late into the run, I can get my last encounter. By heading to New Mauville, I can catch a Magnemite, who I evolve to Magneton, and then to Magnezone. Also, this poor guy who lives above Mauville, why are we out here advertising everybody's personal demons? I don't put constantly anxious man's apartment outside my door. Victory Road is a bit tricky and I have 1 or 2 close calls, but I make it to the final fight against Wally. This fight is extremely easy, except for the Mega Gallade, who uses Swords Dance and is kind of a huge threat. The only way I can get out of it is by sacking a Pokemon I don't need for the Elite Four. Mr. Meeseeks, you've achieved your goal, and now you can die. I'm sorry I roped you into this. This gives me a safe switch to Mutt, who can take out Mega Gallade with 1 Thunderbolt. A Deathless run is now out of the picture, but we've made it to the Elite Four. With my team leveled up and my plan in place, it's time to take on the Elite Four, this time using only M Pokemon. First, we take on Sydney and his Dark types. Sydney starts with Mightyena, and I send out Mana-Imana. Mightyena lowers my attack, but that should not affect what I'm about to do. For the first time this run, I get to evolve Mana-Imana into Mega Medicham. With a high attack stat and the Pure Power ability, Mana-Imana can take out Mightyena with a Brick Break. Next is Absol, who meets the same fate. Third, we see Shiftry, and although it can do some damage with Fake Out, it really doesn't matter very much at all. Fourth is Sharpedo, who can do a bit of damage with its Rough Skin ability, but again, not a big deal. And finally, we see Cacturne. Cacturne knows Spiky Shield, which is like Protect, but does damage if you make contact against the user. Brick Break does make contact, so in anticipation, I use Recover, but Cacturne just goes for payback. I try it again, but it's the same result. I feel confident that Cacturne won't use Spiky Shield, and now I can take it out with 1 Brick Break, giving us our first victory. Next, we have Phoebe and her Ghost types. Phoebe starts with Dusclops, and I send out Maugrim. I start with a Taunt to prevent Confuse Ray and Curse from Dusclops. Now I use Howl, which increases my attack, as Dusclops can only throw weak Shadow Punches at me. I get up to +2 attack, and now the Taunt has worn off. So now, a Crunch knocks out Dusclops. Sableye is out next, and uses a weak Fake Out before I knock it out with Crunch, and then I can take out Dusknoir and both Bayonets using a +2 attack Crunch. Who needed an Intimidate Mightyena anyway? Glacia may be the hardest of these fights for my team. I don't have anyone that can outspeed and one-hit KO everything, but I'm hoping I do have a Pokemon that can sweep the fight. Glacia sends out Glalie, and I send out Molars. With Intimidate, Glalie is the least threat possible for Molars. I have plenty of time to set up with Swords Dance, which will eventually get me to +6 attack. However, Mawile is a slow Pokemon, so the outspeed and one-hit KO method won't work for him. However, there is a way around this. Right now, my goal is to actually take as much damage as possible without dying. This is why I wait before Mega Evolving Molars, and then knock out Glalie. So here's the strategy. Walrein sees a kill on Molars with Surf, but because it uses Surf, I can use Sucker Punch, which is a priority move that only works if you're being attacked. At +6, this easily kills Walrein. Next out is Frostlass. I tried this again, but it actually goes for Hail. I guess it didn't see a kill on me. I'm also not sure if this is the Frostlass with Confuse Ray or not, so I have no idea if it'll try to attack me now. With only 3 PP left for Sucker Punch, I go for Iron Head, and let me tell you, that was the wrong choice. Molars knocks out Frostlass, but barely survives the Hail. So I'm lucky she's alive, but because of Hail, I can't stay in and finish my sweep. I need to change strategies, so I switch to Mama Mag. I'm decently safe to attacks, but a Confuse Ray is not good. Luckily, I hit through confusion and kill Frostlass with Flash Cannon. Finally, Mama Mag can take Glalie attacks, and I get lucky, snapping out of confusion and killing with Flash Cannon. That was a close one, but we made it out with 0 deaths. Up next we have Drake, and this is Macaroni's fight to take. Most of Drake's Pokemon are 4 times weak to ice moves. By teaching Ice Beam to Macaroni, I can easily take out Altaria and Flygon. Salamence lowers my attack, but because of my competitive ability, my special attack gets sharply raised. Thank you very much. I can take out Salamence and the second Flygon as well. Kingdra isn't weak at all to ice, but because of my special attack boost, Ice Beam is a range to kill. So I go for it, but I don't hit the range. Kingdra uses Yawn, so I figure, hey, I've got one more shot, let's go for it. And I get a crit. Thanks, game, I really appreciate that. The Elite Four is defeated, and I have 1 fight left. It all comes down to this. Steven starts with Skarmory, and I send out Mogrim. Mogrim's job is to use Taunt, to prevent a Toxic or Spikes. Next, I break Skarmory's Sturdy by doing a bit of damage, and Mogrim is safe to Skarmory's attacks. I could switch to the Pokemon that will be killing Skarmory now, but the Taunt will wear off before I can kill it. Since I'm safe to stay in, I just try to do some more damage, and then use Taunt again. Now that I have 2 turns of Taunt left, I can switch to Mama Mag, who's very safe. Mama Mag takes another attack and knocks out Skarmory with Thunderbolt. Next is Aggron. Mama Mag isn't faster than many Pokemon, but it is faster than Aggron. So I use Magnet Rise to avoid ground type attacks, which is the only way Aggron can do any significant damage to me. I can't one-hit KO Aggron, but that's okay because it has Sturdy. So a Flash Cannon and a Thunderbolt will take it out. Next is Claydol. I switch to Macaroni, who's safe to all of Claydol's attacks. It seems like Claydol prioritizes screens though, which is fine with me because I'll be using the move Coil, which increases my attack, defense, and accuracy. I continue my setup, and Claydol attacks me every once in a while, but when I get low health, I use Recover, and keep going. I get up to +6 everything, but Reflect is still up. So I stall it out by recovering a few times, and when Reflect is over, I can knock out Claydol with Waterfall. Waterfall also knocks out the Cradily and the Armaldo. Last, we have Metagross, who Steven Mega Evolves. Waterfall still isn't powerful enough, but my defense is so buffed that Mega Metagross can't do anything unless it crit. Giga Impact even has a recharge turn, so Steven can't heal up as I kill it with Waterfall. And with that, the challenge is complete. With a Deathless Elite Four, I've beat a hardcore Nuzlocke using only M Pokemon. Check out the other videos on screen now if you're interested in this type of challenge. Also, let me know what your favorite M Pokemon is in the comments. Plus, subscribe to the channel, like the video, whatever you're compelled to do. Thanks so much for watching.